Well, Statt Mann, I mentioned to some members of the Freak Nation that you're going to be leaving us at the end of the year, and there's a couple of happy bastards that had to get together to say goodbye to you and your tenure here with SpeedFreaks, man.
Hey,
we're not happy you're leaving. We're just happy to get on.
Yeah, who would have thought you'd have been 100 years at that place?
And he looked it too.
Caps and Scelzi. You know, Scelzi, you'll always be remembered. When I met you, you served me sausages at Pomona. And I've never forgotten that. I've never mentioned it, I don't think, but I'll never forget sneaking back there because I was hungry, man. I was taking slinks off the grill and looking over my shoulder to make sure you didn't see me because I didn't want you to think.
Oh, God. My glad it's a story you could use.
That was a couple of days ago, partner. It's great.
Oh, my God. And you look the same.
And the other time I remember your son won a race at Irwindale. And you weren't there, and I picked up the phone to call you, and you weren't listening to me. I'm trying to get off the phone. I got to find out what my son did at Irwin. I said, you shut up and listen.
Oh, God. What a deal.
Wow. And Caps, holy smoke. Caps was around before there was SpeedFreaks, playing racquetball and knocking Kenny's head off with the racquetball.
Right.
Yeah, I put a big welt on it. Remember that?
Yeah.
Welt was in. I couldn't get out of the way.
Wow, that goes back a couple of days. Man, you guys, you really hit the spot here, dudes. I really needed this.
Right on. I'm glad. Normally people get real happy when I leave.
In fact, yesterday I was wearing that Mopar shirt that had Gary Scelzi on the sleeve. Every time I pull that over my head, I always think about you, partner.
All right, I'm glad. I'm glad it's all good things, Statt Mann.
Yeah, all good thoughts, especially you trying to wrangle that Toyota with the wrong wheelbase on one side.
Oh, no.
It had the wrong driver in it was a problem.
Yeah, right. You hear that, Caps? This guy trying to drive a car that was crooked, and people are trying to say, well, maybe he's lost it.
He was trying to drive a funny car tuned by a guy that was trying to tune it like a dragster. That was the problem.
Yep.
Now we're all sitting around with gray hair. I bet if
hair, you don't have hair.
Hold on. Who is it,
it's my alarm going off that I have to be on SpeedFreaks. I'm not going to miss this show. I've had this alarm going off all morning. I have to call Kenny. Can't make no excuses. Cap's going to be on there. I mean, I'm ready to go. I got alarms going. I got electrocution in my butt. How many years, Statt Mann?
Go ahead.
What, 25 years in June, Kenny?
Mm-hmm.
You're an overnight success.
Oh, worked 25 years to become an overnight success.
Wow.
Scelzi.
I've been on SpeedFreaks as long as Caps has been winning funny cars. How come you ain't out there anymore, Scelzi?
Man, I've had some health issues, way too fat, and I'm not as good as Caps. Plain and simple. I admit that now.
You didn't used to admit that when you was out there racing against him.
No.
Yeah, when he whooped my ass.
Yeah. I guarantee you have fingers left over on one hand, Caps. Now, I did whip your ass in a rickshaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. All right.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was awesome.
That was.
The awesome part was the bet and watching you sling around me at the chili bowl. I thought your throttle was stuck.
It was in Brainerd. Oh, God. That poor guy had that pickup. We put my head in the side, your head in the side, somebody's head in the side. Remember that?
Yeah, that was my head. Yep.
That was up your head. Better
Yeah,
years of
man.
mine. You're still good looking.
It was worth it.
You know, we had that rickshaw at Long Beach, and we're getting ready to come out in between some race. They have 11 of them out there. And they called on the loudspeaker, Top Fuel Rickshaw to lane 3.
How come we weren't there for that?
One of those moments. Wow.
You know what it was? We had a bet. I think, was this before or after Ron and Gary Crasher? Do you remember?
Ooh, it was right. It was the same year. I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg.
It was before. It was Boris Said and
Paul Gentilozzi.
We had a bet between those dudes in some Grand Am race or Trans Am race, and whoever came ahead of the other guy had to pull the winner down the front stretch there for the Long Beach Grand Prix. And guess who didn't show up? Paul Gentilozzi did not show up, but Boris Said showed up and pulled lug nuts all the way down that front stretch.
That's awesome.
And the Long Beach Queen, right?
He had a woman in the thing. There's a great line. I don't know if this will get erased, Kenny, but he had a woman, and they told him he was going to pull the queen of the race, and he looked around and said, they told me I was going to pull the queen, not the queen mom.
Oh, God.
Hey, Ron, what do you remember about that Top Fuel Rickshaw, and share with the Freak Nation what the bet was?
Well, I thought the bet was from the Chili Bowl in the race that we had. I'm pretty sure, maybe because we did a rickshaw race in Brainerd, and it's funny because I got pictures that pop up of all of us at the stage when the band used to play there, and I think it was one of those nights before we went out and did the rickshaw. But from what I remember, I thought that actual picture was from we made a bet at the Chili Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, and everybody thought I was a better driver when we'd go do these dirt races than Scelzi, but they didn't understand that Scelzi's wild thing came from the way that he
did not know how to drive.
With the way he drove, which was he was just wide open. He was so fun to be around. But on the track, we made this bet, and I thought, man, I got him. We're out there doing this all-star race, and I know I'm taking it easy. I'm doing my usual thing, not to screw up. And out of the corner of my eye, I see the colors that I know his car is and his helmet. And there's about 3 laps to go. And out of the flash of my eye, I see somebody way up bouncing off the cushion. And I'm like, there's nobody in our race, but maybe a couple guys that are good enough to do that. He was like Sammy Swindell up there. It was like, wow. And we would go through the corner, and I see this flash of his helmet. And then I'm okay, I'll stay low, and I stay low. And then I see this flash again. It's getting closer and closer. And then I looked over at one point, I think with 2 corners to go, and I see it Scelzi. I'm like, no friggin' way. And sure enough, turn 3 and 4, coming for the checker, he comes flying around wide open, and it's bouncing, it's off the cushion, and his arms are flailing, and he hits the wall, barrel rolls, and then sticks it right up on the fence, and it hung on the fence right after the finish line. I'm talking maybe a foot past it, and he got past me. And it was typical Gary Scelzi fashion, like wide open. The crowd was going nuts, and I lost the bet. And I thought I would have bet you $1 million with a lap to go. I had it in the bag, and that was the bet. So I was more than happy in Pomona. And this back when we went a quarter mile before 1,000 foot. So I literally chugged down there in my Oakley shoes. Look at that.
Yeah.
Old slip-ons, right? And I chugged it down there, and all quarter mile. I'm not even sure that we got a golf cart to pick us up at the end. We may have gone back in the direction, but I was more than happy to do that with Gary Scelzi in the chair.
So hold on a second. If I'm hearing you correctly, Gary Scelzi invented Ross Chastaining the wall. You were Ross Chastain before Ross Chastain.
I didn't exactly do it like Ross Chastain. Let's say I was hanging from the fence upside down, and the guy said, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" And I said, "Did I beat Caps?" And they said, "What?" And I said, "Did I beat Caps?" And they looked around. Yeah, you did beat Caps. I said, "Right on." Oil dripping on me and everything. Oh, it was a mess. But we had the time of our life. And we were both driving for Schumacher at the time.
That's right.
And Don said, "You guys better not get hurt. You better be sure you're careful." Yeah, right on, Don. Well, we'll get that handled. Oh God, we had more fun. This guy, I only saw the back of his car like every time, and brought my car home in pieces. So it was great. This guy's got a lot of talent. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I judge all my teammates after that at DSR, and every really, you go to these drivers meetings and we go to these driver intros, and it's like, man, I had it so good having Scelzi as a teammate all those years and a friend. But the stuff that we would go do away from the track, and it always start with, "Hey, Caps, come here. I got an idea." And he'd pull me aside and the idea to go race a dirt race here, or we would go do something here or there. But from the time we started planning, it was always around a drag race, and it would always be something we would do for fun or charity, right? And you guys were at a lot of them that we did, some of these dirt races, but always a blast. We made it so much fun. And then we'd get back to drag race, and it was business as usual. And then we'd go out there and try to win the race, and usually end up in the final round or something. But man, the amount of good times that I had that I can look back and.
You know what, Ron? You always said yes. That's a problem.
I said yeah before you started talking.
Before, yeah, I'll do it. I said, no, wait a minute. Let me tell you what's going on. I don't care. I mean, I got to tell you one quick story. We were at a golf tournament. Lasowski put on this charity golf tournament. We had a ball. I mean, we were horrible. And he was sponsored by Crown Royal because he was doing that IROC series.
Oh, yeah.
So every golf cart had a bottle of Crown Royal, and it was for the kids. So you had to take a pull, and Lasowski made sure that there were bubbles when they came up, so you don't just take the stuff and spit it out like he does. So this thing went ugly. Ralph Shaheen and Clint Boyer, and I don't remember who else was there for auction. We got done, and it was Ron's idea. It always was Ron's idea why it ended up bad. So our hotel was across about 30 acres of a dirt field. And obviously, we were having a lot of adult beverages, and we don't want to drive on the street because we're good race car drivers and we're law-abiding citizens. So Ron has a great idea that, you know what, let's just drive across the field. Well, there's only one problem. It was a plowed field, and it had rained that day, like it does in St. Louis or wherever the hell we were, Missouri or wherever, Misery.
Sedalia.
And Sedalia, that's right. And so we go across this field about 105 with golf clubs in the back and two guys we always played golf with. And all of a sudden, it was Dukes of Hazzard. We hit a ditch. And Ron got out of his mouth, "Watch out for the..." And then it was quiet. And there was no sound anywhere. And we knew, I looked at him, he looked at me like, uh-oh, we did it this time. And we landed. And when we landed, about 5 seconds later, the golf clubs land in the back of the truck. And it made it to the hotel. We went to the hotel, partied for another couple hours in the bar. And then next morning, when we were going to the airport, and that truck was sitting there bent in half. And the front bumper was like Mater, had a big old smile on the front. And I don't know how Ron did it. I mean, it was all Ron. It wasn't me. It was Ron Scelzi. That's who it was.
Yeah.
Ron Scelzi.
I'm telling you.
I remember waking up the next morning. We walked out on our decks, and we had decks. We had rooms next to each other. I remember walking out, and our hair's messed up, and Scelzi's in shorts, no shirt on. And we walked out together, and we look out in the parking lot, and around this truck is all this mud that had dried and just fell off the truck. And there's a ring of mud around this thing. And we looked down and saw the bumper in the truck and went, uh-oh, we're in deep trouble.
Oh, God.
Was that a rental or was that one of Tony's trucks?
No, it was a rental.
Got it. Statute of limitations might have passed, but nope, we're still.
Yeah, it has been about 20 years ago, right?
Well, first of all, we got a car and we got a flat tire. And it was a girl, a real pretty girl that worked this. I'm not going to say it was or wasn't Enterprise Rent-A-Car. And we went and got a flat tire. We turned around, came back, and all they had was a truck. And Ron's looks and my mouth were really making this girl flustered. And she wrote Ron Scelzi on the receipt. Well, there was no Ron Scelzi. So being that truck may or may not have been totaled, it was Ron Scelzi that did it. And there is no Ron Scelzi. So neither one of us were liable. Remember, about 6 months later, they called me, wanted to know who was going to pay for that truck.
Yeah.
And I told Ron goes, "Oh my God, you're kidding me." I said, "Yeah, you're gonna have to pay for that truck." But we got out of that deal, and the statute of limitations, I think, crash are passed,
Yeah.
Yes.
so we left out.
Yeah, we
Scelzi,
sent it back
what are
on
you
the- on
going
a
to do when
flatbed.
Giovanni comes at you with these stories? Are you going to tell him, I know all of it. I've been there, done that, wore out the T-shirt.
My kids have heard it, believe me, and they're starting their own notebook now, and I don't want to know anything they're doing.
So it all runs in the family, huh?
Yes, it's all their mother. Their mother has no respect for anything.
I'm pulling up picture, Scelzi, of.
Yeah, I was afraid of
You
that.
see that?
Thank God that the phones were wooden phones on cell phones. They didn't have photo cameras on phones anymore. Back then,
Yeah, this is probably the Kodak disposable camera. That takes
Yeah.
I'm sure it is.
There's geese.
Oh, there's the golf course.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
the golf
Yeah.
course.
Oh, I thought it was Kenny.
No, so hold on. So that golf tournament that we're talking about, of course, Danny Lasowski putting it on. That we went to that with you guys. I believe it was 05 and 06 and 07. But is that in 05 at least? Is that when you guys both really started bonding with Tony Stewart?
I think so. I think so.
And can you claim now, Gary, that Tony's baby is named Dominic because of your son? It's got to be
Dominic
right?
James. So it's so funny is it's Dominic Michael and Giovanni James, and it's Dominic James. So
Oh, wow.
no, I haven't called. I wanted to smoke to settle. No pun intended.
Literally.
Him and Leah, congratulations on them. There's nothing like having a kid,
Mhm.
and you can tell anybody about it, but you're not. You're so in love when that little one is born that it's unbelievable, and I'm sure he's felt the same way. That tough Tony Stewart.
Yeah.
Hey, Scelzi, real
Yes,
quick
sir.
before we get back to Statt Man, let me tell you a little bit about children.
Oh my God, she's beautiful like her mother.
Oh.
Thank God she'll look like her dad.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. When she first showed up, she was about as big as a loaf of bread, about like this.
Yeah.
Well, thank God you didn't try to eat her like them sausages.
Yeah, right. If there'd been some sausages there, I'd have been. But she crashed before she went away to have the baby. You remember this, Kenny? We're standing in the garage and crashed. We're trying to figure out what are we going to do while she's away. She says, "Don't worry, I'll be back in about a week." We all looked at each other like, "Yeah, right." And she took about a month, about 3 or 4 weeks off, and came back with this loaf of bread and sets her on the desk there in the studio. We all look at each other and look at her, and she's squirming around. And I said, "Wow, the world is different. It'll never be the same."
That's for sure.
And now she's a
Doesn't
motorhead.
matter.
Would you say drag racing is arguably your favorite motorsport?
I've got a lot of favorites.
You do.
Oh, come on. There's $20 in it for you.
Can you spell Gary Scelzi? Can you spell Scelzi?
Oh, please.
I don't think so.
Tell Dad I don't do requests.
Scelzi.
Scelzi. Yeah, there you
Sleazy.com.
go. Oh, goodness.
Can I get you out of here before Scelzi says something embarrassing?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Hey, Scelzi, I was going to bring this up. I've got video that you were crying in this video when your two boys were, they weren't even 10 years old yet, where I went up there with the MAV TV crew and, oh my gosh. Hey.
Oh my God. Hey, dog. How are you?
She's home for lunch from work. She works at a dentist office.
Holy smokes.
Very cool.
I thought you were going to say she worked at a deli. That man and I were ready to eat.
Sausages.
All right, bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Ron.
That was
Oh,
super
Um,
cool.
gosh.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So what was that, Kenny?
I was up at your place 2008, 2009. I'm sorry I don't have that video, but I've got video with you and your boys in your shop, and they are how many years apart are they?
I think they're 4.
All right. Well, say 2009. I've got video with you and your boys rolling around, and you started crying when we started talking about your boys.
When he raced go-karts, we used to go every Wednesday because Dad was home on Wednesday. So Wednesday he got out of school at noon, we'd smoke it to Kermit, and we'd go out there and burn tank after tank after tank. Working on this corner, working on that corner. Then 4 or 5 in the afternoon, other parents would come out with their kids, and then he'd chase the rabbit. A whole lot different deal. We'd go to the race, and the same thing. He'd run into everything. He was cold triple. He blew hay bales up. I thought I killed him a couple times. He had in his helmet, and how he lived, I have no idea. But we'd get out, and I'd say, God damn it, Dominic. I mean, I'd start to ream his ass.
Right.
He's 5 years old, right? Because my desire to win, and I knew I never had to speed him up. I always had to slow him down. But we were going to the races one Sunday, and he looked at me like, you know what, I could give a shit about going to the races.
I can only imagine now when I drop that video off to you, how you're going to feel when you see with you and your boys,
Oh my God,
16 years ago.
You know what? I've had some health issues and a couple things like that, but I listen to sad country songs, and I mean, I lose it. I mean, I think I love my kids more now than I did when they were babies. And now, they're always busy. Dom's got 2 little girls, Stella and Giada. And Giovanni, he was here for his birthday, Thanksgiving. He's 23. He's going to Australia for Christmas, drive somebody's car. I mean, they're never around no more. I mean, Dom's around, but he's busy being a dad, and the little one's playing soccer, and Gio's all over the world. And hey, I guess that's part of it.
Ron, do you drive any different now than you did when your kids were smaller, before kids?
God, that's a great question. I probably try to drive a little smarter, in the respect that early in the career, you didn't think about what was going on down the road. I mean, you rolled it in, and whatever you could do to have the best reaction time, and probably lost a lot of races early in my career because we didn't have lane choice, just because I did dumb stuff like that. So in that respect, probably a little smarter. I do remember Gary's, not just his last year, like last year and a half, because we battled until his retirement, we battled every year it was a championship battle. We were both in it with Force or Robert or whoever. And the last year and a half, we would be talking about something, and he would just get emotional about it. And I was like, man, he was always emotional about the kids and something else going on. And we were right in the heart of we'd be in the heart of a battle. It came down to 3 points the one year. And here we were racing each other for really a championship the last couple of races of the season. But we would be off talking about life and other stuff, and he would get real emotional at the end. And I remember a couple times, Gary, you were like, man, I think I need to quit driving. Like I got all these emotions going on about stuff around racing, not even racing. And it just struck me because I thought, well, it tells me something about my career. And, when you start thinking about the kids getting older and maybe not spending as much time like we did when the kids were younger. And it's cool to watch, I'm the biggest fan of his kids, and anytime they're racing, I'm following them and cheering them on. And, you just saw Taylor, but we went through our garage and we found all these old little plastic dragsters that the kids used to play with. And I found one that has Dominic, and it's all written like a kid would write it when he's 5 years old. And Gio rode on one, and Taylor and Caden, because they used to always play near the motorhomes. And it's fun to come across that kind of stuff because the memories are so fun. And so I think as it goes on, I do drive a little differently. And I think Gary was too. And I think maybe he saw something at that point, like maybe there's other things going on in my life that, you focus on different parts of the driving and whatever might happen. But yeah, I think I wouldn't say it's smarter, differently maybe.
You bring up those toy dragsters in your garage. You've done some pretty cool paint schemes over the last couple of years, especially for the U.S. Nationals, Ron. What could you reenact one of those as a paint scheme? Your kids written on dragsters and put that on your funny car? That could be kind of cool.
Yeah, they were. I think the ones we found said Full Throttle on them, and maybe Powerade or something on them. But they were the older dragsters when the kids were 5, 6, 7, and our kids are pretty much the same. Close to the same. Ours are 5 years apart, but Dominic and Taylor are real close, and Gio and Caden are pretty close in age. So, that'd be fun to do. That'd be something cool to do. Yeah.
Not to be mean against the sponsors, but you don't need the sponsors. I just want to see their cool handwriting on the side of your.
Yeah, I'll have to take a picture of it and post it.
Yeah.
It's pretty
The
cool.
sponsors, I bet, would love. I bet Napa would really get into that.
Yeah, I bet they would too.
They are
Yeah.
very cool about stuff like that.
Yep.
Statt Man, when we started this thing, June 25th, 2000, I don't think we could have scripted your interview with Gary and Caps on each side of you.
There's no way. Are you kidding? Ed, I remembered Ron talking to the snake, and I'm sitting there holding the mic in front of his mouth, and I don't have a clue what he's saying because I'm talking to the snake.
That's the way I thought too when I talked to him.
Some quick memories of Speed Freaks before you get the hell out of here, Gary.
No, Statt Man.
Statt Man, Speed Freaks. Go ahead, Gary.
You know
Anything?
what, Statt Man? I wish you all the best. I never thought we'd all be around this long. to be honest with you, you're incredible, and I hope you enjoy yourself because you know everybody, and you've interviewed everybody, and you've done everything, including steal sausages. And I'm going to probably talk to you a little bit more about that when you're off camera.
Yeah, you got to keep close watch on that grill. You have somebody like me going back.
And Cap, I'm the one that has an eating problem. No, wait a minute. I probably got somebody to partner with.
Hey, I never said that.
You don't have to. But I wish you the best, and I love you, Statt. And if there's anything ever I could do, you're ever in Fresno or coming close, call me.
Wow. Yeah, I want to see you at one of those races. I'm a dirt fan. You know that. I want to see you at one of those races when Dom or Giovanni are out there knocking people's heads out.
Well, next year we'll be in Vegas at the high limit thing. So we'll dominate.
Wow.
So,
Ron, you got something for Statt, Speed Freaks?
Man, it's gonna be weird not having you on this. You know, it's of all the shows, of all the stuff, all the media stuff around racing, not even drag racing. You guys have been there since the beginning. I mean, Gary and I'm sure we were on, if not the first, we were probably one of the first couple shows. And I think we were around you guys before you were officially your show that you have now, for sure. And it's always been a little edgy and a little fun. And I think Scelzi fit that mold for sure. But you know, I have a huge void in my life right now, not having Gary around at the track and not having, the fun that we used to have and not having that side of things, friendship and all that as well. But you guys have always been the same thing. Your show is going to go big time downhill without him there, Kenny, by the way. I don't know what you're going to do to try and fill that void. But Statt Man, thanks for always being the level-headed one of the bunch. I mean, you always came in quietly when these two got out of control. I should say these three in this calling here. But you've always been that level-headed guy that had ready with the stats and had the question that was going to be serious and come in with something that we all wanted to know. So appreciate
one thing I want to know, Ron, when Kenny started calling you Ronald C. Caps.
No, it was Ronald J. Caps.
Did you ever pick out a name for the C? Did you ever figure out who the C was going to be?
Well, no, it was Ronald J. Caps for a while, and I couldn't understand. And then, of course, Donald Trump comes around, and it was Donald J. Trump. And I wonder if he knew something ahead of time. I didn't understand where the – but yeah, I don't know.
Now you're a rep for president? Oh, my God. I'm voting for you.
Yeah, I don't know where the C came. I don't know where the J, where the C, where any of it came from. My real middle name is Anthony, so I'm not even sure where the C came from. You just flew that out there one time, and I just let it go as everything else that you say. Yeah. We all let it fly.
There's a drop for the rest of our life.
Yeah, but no, this is cool to be on with Scelzi, of course. But your last show, this is like leaving the show like you came in, right?
Wow.
You know what, Ron? Let me say one other thing. There's only been one other person, and that's Dave Despain. So that's a pretty big company to put you guys with. But to talk to you guys, not only as friends, but off the air and tell you everything, and know that that's not going to get spread and stuff that shouldn't be out. You guys are always one that can be trusted. And that is very, very rare. And unfortunately, it's getting worse as time goes on. And that's something that you guys will go down in history to be trusted as friends, not only interview people or movie stars or whatever you want to be. It's amazing. And they broke the mold, all of you. So
Gary,
I appreciate all of you.
That's the absolute greatest thing you could say to the three of us. Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well said.
Thank you, man. That's worth it all. Thank you.
It's not a lie.
Wow.
I will say this, that we couldn't have done Speed Freaks without the personalities in the National Hot Rod Association. And part of our job initially was to expose those personalities, the Jerry Tollivers everyone thought Ron Capps was buttoned up until he came into the show and he's rattling off all this Van Halen trivia and Formula One knowledge and pounding this and pounding that, and Gary Scelzi, Mother F, and Tony Stewart. I thought, we've done our job, and I mean that, guys. Me being the drag racing fan that I am from back in the Green Valley Raceway to Dallas International Speedway days, it's the NHRA that helped light this son of a bitch, to be honest.
Yeah, Caps and I would talk Formula One off the top of our heads when we weren't, I just pick up the phone and call him and we talk Formula One. Forget drag racing. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Gary, can you spell F1 if I spot you the F?
No. I'm not gonna lie to you, Kenny.
Well, I'll keep that between you and me, okay?
Oh, you know what? It's our secret.
Not anymore.
I know you're both very, very busy, man. Thank you guys for taking 45 minutes out of your busy day to say so long to Statt Mann. It's just, what's the saying? It's not goodbye. It's like, what's the?
See you next time.
I'll see you next time, right?
There you go. Love you, man.
Yeah, thank you. Love you too. Wow. Thank you.
All right. Gary, thank you. Ron, thank you guys both.
Guys.
All right.
See you, Ron.
See you,
Good luck
buddy.
next year.
You take car maintenance seriously, and you want to pass on that legacy of care. Use Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer to shield your engine from excessive heat, debris, and friction. Trust Lucas Oil. It works.
Freak Nation, make your plans now to get yourself a new set of General tires. Fall's here. Winter's coming. Wet weather. You want to make sure you're on a new set of General tires. For more information, check it out at GeneralTire.com. That's GeneralTire.com. General Tire, the official tire of Speed Freaks for over 2 decades.
Rev up your passion for speed. MAV TV Go is the ultimate streaming app for race fans. Oh, man! MAV TV Go, your global home of motorsports. Now on the go. Download the app now.
3 years of sellout crowds. 3 years of edge-of-your-seat action. 3 years of jaw-dropping finishes. Worldwide Technology Raceway has rocked the world of NASCAR. And now, NASCAR is giving us another reason to celebrate. The 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Championship playoffs are coming. Sunday, September 7th, 2025. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year.
Looking for power to spare? Count on an FVP battery. FVP. Verified, proven.